What's going on, everyone? Welcome in to this episode of the Pregame Live Chat, Chiefs Ravens edition. Before I change the camera, can you guys hear me? I'm just curious because I've never done this before. I'm ready to go. I got my camera set, but I'm just curious to know if you guys can hear me while you see something else on the screen. If you guys can hear me, press 1 in the chat. As we watch the Steelers and Vikings, they've had a couple of scuffles in this game. They like to fight. You can hear me. Okay. Bob, Elaine, Matthew, all confirming. Everyone commenting from Facebook, YouTube, and X. This is what I like. Where's my not so beautiful face? There we are. What's up? What's going on? I'm in a good mood. You guys in a good mood? I hope so. First and foremost, before we get started and talking about the Chiefs and Ravens, I do want to give a shout out to Chiefs Hall of Famer Deron Cherry. Phenomenal event last night at the Celebrity Tailgate event. If you guys have never attended one of these in the past, last year was my first time, and I obviously went last night. I'm definitely going to go next year. I mean, God willing, something urgent holds me back. I'm definitely going back next year. So if you guys haven't, go to one of these events. They've also got the golf tournament coming up tomorrow and Tuesday. I don't know if it's too late to sign up. Never hurts to ask, but you can always go on the website, DeronCherryFoundation.org. They raise tens and thousands of dollars. I'm sure you guys have seen a couple of the clips I put out there. A backseat, a backseat signed by several Chiefs Hall of Famers from the 1969 Super Bowl team. A signed baseball by Vinny Pasquantino. Signed a helmet by Xavier Worthy. Chris Jones, George Karlaftis signed jerseys. A photo signed by Andy Reid and Spags. An art piece of Andy Reid signed. An art piece of Mahomes signed. All 4 Super Bowl rings also auctioned off. So it was it was a tremendous night, and a big shout out to Deron and his team, Aaron, Ashley, Jarvis, Michelle, so many people part of that. I know I don't have all of their names in front of me, but they really do have a great team there, and they had a successful night once again. So a big shout out to those guys and everything they do. Okay, let's get into some football action. Look, I put out a post Friday afternoon-ish, somewhere around there, talking about how I'm confident in this receiving core. Xavier Worthy, I think, is going to be on a snap count today. Now, they feel pretty good about him, so we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he can go full speed. We'll see. But I think even with Xavier Worthy on a snap count, you have Hollywood Brown, who can kind of revert back to what he was supposed to be. Because remember, when the Chiefs signed Hollywood Brown, they also drafted Xavier Worthy the same offseason. And I know that was possibly with a concern that Rice might not be available because of a potential suspension last year. Unfortunately, turned out to be an injury. And this year, it's a suspension. So the Xavier Worthy draft pick looks like a good move right now. But now you got Worthy coming back. And you have Tyquan Thornton, who has been the talk of the town all week, and just kind of his resurgence in the NFL. Struggled in New England, was great in college, but couldn't get it going with New England, and he's looking really good right now in Kansas City, playing coming off one of the best games he's ever had. So think of that wide receiver trio that we've been talking about for a long time here in Kansas City with Rice, Worthy, and Hollywood. Well, take out Rice, and you put in Tyquan Thornton. That's what you have right now. You have Jalen Royals and Juju Smith-Schuster as depth supporters. I'm not saying this is like the murderer's row of wide receivers, though I think it has the potential to be that. When Rice comes back, I do think that's it's going to be a dynamic offense once Rice comes back. If everyone stays healthy, please, I need to see that. But I'm pretty confident. And when I posted that, when something goes viral, it takes a little bit of time for it to go viral. But after a few hours, I got a lot of comments from a lot of people saying I'm overconfident. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Basically, people saying I'm crazy here. maybe do a little bit of research. And I understand the Ravens have been playing some really good football teams in the first 3 weeks of the NFL season, but the Ravens are supposed to be a top tier team in the NFL, are they not? They're always contenders in the AFC, right? So you're supposed to stand up to some of these top tier teams, but they haven't been able to. They're last in total defense. They're second to last in stopping the run. They're third to last against the pass. And they've allowed the second most points through the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. So why can't this Chiefs offense get going, especially through the air? I don't listen, as bad as the run defense is almost as bad as the pass defense. They're both bottom 3 in the league. But Kansas City's bread and butter is the passing game with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. So Kansas City's going to sling it. I think Tyquan Thornton's going to be your primary receiver here. I think Xavier Worthy's going to get involved. Hollywood Brown, they're all going to get involved. I think you'll see a little bit of Jalen Royals in this game. I know a lot of people were asking how come he never played last week when he was active for the game. Andy Reid said, hey, he's a rookie. He's just kind of getting his feet wet. That was his first appearance. Well, technically not an appearance. It was his first game where he suited up. But I think we'll see more of that. Connor Embry, the wide receivers coach, hinted that we should see more of him in this game here. But I'm just looking at this Ravens defense. And it's going to be a little bit of a long season because I think they just put, who was that? Nnamdi Madubuike, who got hurt against the Browns. They put him on IR. They put another guy on IR. I think it was Broderick Washington, a guy who we talked about on the podcast earlier in the week. Let me just make sure. Yeah, Broderick Washington also went to IR. So they're pretty thin on that defensive line there. Like Kyle Van Noy, who might not be 100% if he plays in this game, that dude's got to have a really big game. Roquan Smith, great linebacker, can't do it all on his own. Kyle Hamilton, great safety, can't do it all on his own. I mean, this is going to be a secondary that's gonna have its issues. Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphreys, who had a really bad game against Amon-Ra St. Brown on Monday night. Malachi Starks, who hasn't been good this year. This is a defensive unit overall that just hasn't been very good to start off. Did Pittsburgh not score on that drive? I'm talking to you guys for the last few minutes, so I have no idea what happened here. But Minnesota's about to make it a game. I mean, they're at the 2-yard line now. So let's see. Look, listen, call me overconfident, but I feel pretty damn good about Kansas City's offense today. I really do. What's going on with Chris Jones? So the word is out there, and I'm sure it'll be brought up during the CBS broadcast today. Chris Jones, his aunt passed away. So thoughts and prayers to his family, condolences to them. So a lot of people don't know this. Even if you're the home team, players who are part of the home team, they don't stay the night in their own homes the night before a game. They all stay at a hotel, which sounds silly, but the reason they do that, a lot of these players, and this has been going on for a long time, a lot of these players have a lot of friends and family members from out of town come in for the weekend, and that can be a pretty big distraction for a lot of these guys. So if you have a game on a Saturday night, they all meet at a hotel. They have a quick meeting, and they basically stay at the hotel for the night. Chris Jones was not with the team in the hotel, and so as a result, is that a touchdown or? They're celebrating, but they're not changing the score. Okay, there, it's a touchdown. As a result, because Chris Jones was not present with the team at the hotel last night, he has to be put on the injury report. A lot of people are asking, why is he on the injury report if he's expected to play? If a player is not present with the team, they must be placed on the injury report, and it needs to be noted that it's not injury related. So that's what's going on with Chris Jones. It is a charter flight. Those things generally do not get delayed, but in the wild chance that something happens, they have to put him on the injury report in case it gets delayed. Things happen. So that's why he's on the injury report. He is expected to play. I'm sure there will be an update or a tracker of some sort of his flight, kind of like when people do it Taylor Swift when she arrives for games, which is crazy, but that's what a lot of people do. The Ravens offense, the Chiefs have gone 29 consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher from a running back. The only 100-yard rusher during that time is Lamar Jackson, and that was in last year's season opener when he had, I think, 111 scrambling yards. And some good news for the Ravens, they are getting Isaiah Likely for the first time this season. And Isaiah Likely, he torched the Chiefs defense last year. One of the very few pass catchers that had a good game against Kansas City as they were trying to surge and have that comeback. I know a lot of people, when they think of Isaiah Likely in last year's game, they think about the toe out of bounds. Fair or not, I mean, that's just the way people remember things. But Isaiah Likely did a lot of good in that game. And listen, if he had that touchdown right there, I think from the 2-yard line, I think anything the Ravens of all teams that they could have drawn up, they would have gotten it. My money would have been on the Ravens in that. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But I think another thing to consider is with Lamar Jackson, because people are always critical of his passing abilities, but he's been one of the best in the league this year. He's 10th in passing yards, first in the NFL in passing touchdowns with 9 on the season. He's yet to throw a pick this year. Now, the bad thing about this Ravens team, especially with the offensive line, Lamar Jackson's been sacked 12 times this year. That is tied for the second most coming into week 4. And when you look at Monday Night Football, he got dunked 7 times by that Detroit defense. And when you're looking at Kansas City's defense, what do? They love to blitz with their linebackers and their safeties and cornerbacks. The Chiefs run the nickel and dime package more than any other team the last 2 seasons. So you can definitely expect a lot of that in this game here. If you remember in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, Lamar Jackson did not have a lot of lanes to run through because the Chiefs clogged those lanes up with their linebackers, and the defensive backs did a tremendous job on one-on-one coverage down the field and not giving Lamar a lot of opportunities. A big reason why the Ravens were held to 10 points. Yeah, I know Zay Flowers should have had a touchdown there, but the Ravens did not score a lot of points in that game. A big part of it was because of Zay Flowers, and another big part of it was because Lamar Jackson did not have a lot of room to work with down the field, and even when it came to short distance with the linebackers just being all over those running lanes there. So unlike last year, it's a different situation where Lamar Jackson ran all over the Chiefs. Derrick Henry had a pretty bad game. I saw the over-under on DraftKings. I think it was at 89.5. I took the under on that one. That is easy money. Hopefully I don't look like an idiot after the game saying this, but I mean, the Chiefs have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 29 consecutive games from a running back. So that has to be easy money to me. I know that streak will end eventually, but I don't think that's going to come to an end tonight because Derrick Henry, the Chiefs have had some good moments, some good games against Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry will still score a touchdown in this game, but I don't think he's going to have a big game where he torches the Chiefs defense, similar to what he did in week 1 against Buffalo, where he had like 100 yards rushing 20 minutes into the game. I don't think you're going to see that kind of Derrick Henry. And I'm a big fan of Derrick Henry. I just don't think he's going to be able to go off like the way he's been able to for a majority of his career. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Kansas City. Let's see what other things. The Chiefs defense has already proven that in the past they can contain Lamar if they can shut down his targets and take pressure off Mahomes. I see a victory. Yeah, and that's what you saw in the AFC Championship game. My only gripe with that is the Chiefs should have scored more points in that one. One of them, Rashee Rice, had a touchdown taken away, even though the Chiefs allegedly have the refs in their pockets. Rashee Rice had 2 touchdowns taken away from him in the playoffs that year. If we can get a pass rush today with out an all-out blitz, I would feel a lot better about this game. Yeah, that's a really good point by Philip here. Ashton Gelati, the rookie defensive end who the Chiefs got early in the 3rd round, he's looking pretty good for Kansas City so far. Another rookie that's looking really good on that defensive line, their 2nd round pick, and I had him on my mock draft, Omar freaking Norman Lott. This dude should probably have 4 or 5 sacks right now. He's been like this close on a lot of plays. And I know being that close does not count, right? But man, for a rookie to kind of get off to a good start like that, you feel pretty good about it. And you know he's going to eventually get that. I think he's on his way. And listen, I'm a big fan of Joe Cullen, the defensive line coach for the Chiefs. If you're going to play defensive line in the NFL, the position coach you want is Joe Cullen. So I know Omar Norman Lott's going to get it together. This guy had the best win rush pass rate of any defensive tackle in college football last year. That's a huge reason why they drafted him. I think the knock on him, and maybe why he fell out of the first round, almost out of the second round too, was because he didn't play enough snaps in college with Tennessee. Fair enough. I mean, listen, I guess that's why he fell to the spot where he fell. But good for Kansas City. They got him, and I think Kansas City is going to prove that this guy should have been taken much earlier in the draft. I'm excited for this Kansas City defensive line for so many years. You have Chris Jones on a long-term deal. George Karlaftis just signed a long-term deal. Ashton Gelati and Omar Norman Lott are on rookie deals right now. You've got probably a set defensive line for a long time, because I think Charles Omenihu, he's gotten off to a really bad start this year. I think this could be his last year with the team. I would not be surprised if Mike Dana was a salary cap casualty in the offseason. But I like this defensive line the Chiefs have. I would guess that they might next offseason, not to dive into this too much, but next offseason, get a free agent or two, like a second or third tier defensive lineman in free agency. Also draft one in day 2 or day 3 of the draft next year. But their defensive line is set for a long time with Chris Jones and Omar Norman Lott in the middle. And on the outside, you have George Karlaftis and Ashton Gelati. I love that defensive line. NFL needs to change their kickoff rules. It's almost impossible to recover an onside kick nowadays. I just hate that you have to declare an onside kick. Like, what does that mean? Like the Pat McAfee recovery, the Super Bowl where New Orleans had that surprise onside kick. You don't have those anymore. Todd Haley ran a couple of those surprise onside kick attempts. I know a lot of people don't like Todd Haley, but I don't know, man. Like that should be. I hate the kickoff rules, especially the way kick returners have to line up. And not just kick returners, but the entire kicker team. That makes no sense. Like that wasn't even anything that needed to be adjusted. I love how they're calling it the dynamic kickoff. Okay, sure. Whatever you say, Roger Goodell. Whatever you say. This is the same guy that's like focusing so hard on wanting 16 international games per year. Like, who's asking for this? This is going to be interesting. 3rd and 1, game on the line for the Vikings here. Let's see a Chris Jones update. As far as I see from Adam Schefter, he is currently, as of 3 hours ago, in Mississippi, and will be flying back, and will make it in time for the game. That's the latest here. And I'm assuming he's on a charter flight. Yeah, that's the latest I am seeing on Chris Jones. He is expected to play, but they have to put him on the injury report in case there's a delay. For those who missed it earlier, I brought this up. A lot of people don't know this, but even the home team, they stay at a hotel the night before a game. That's to avoid distractions, because a lot of these players, especially the younger guys, rookies, they get excited because they're finally in the NFL. Their families are very excited. A lot of these people have a bunch of family and friends over for games. So a lot of them, it's just a distraction. And this is normal protocol across the league. They tend to stay in a hotel the night before a game, even the home team. But what I will say is I know, and I've talked to players who were on the team back then. I've been told this by them, but Herm Edwards actually made exceptions for veterans. I'll let you decide who he made exceptions for specifically, but Yeah, that has been a thing. Who would the Chiefs take in round one? It's a little early to say. If I had to say right now, I would guess either an offensive guard to replace Kingsley Suamataia or a running back. My guess would be one of those two. Why isn't Andy Reid using Robert Tonyan more instead of Travis and Remigio more in the offense? Because he makes up good yards. I know he's our punt return. Just let Smith do Brashard Smith. I assume you're referring to do more returns. Yeah, I mean, listen, Robert Tonyan is the fourth tight end on the team. The third tight end, who the Chiefs drafted last year out of TCU, his name escapes my mind right now, but I'll pull it up. He suffered a season-ending injury midway through the year last year. Jared Wiley, yeah, he hasn't really been playing either. I don't know how many snaps Jared Wiley's had this season. We can look that up real quickly. I'd actually be curious to know how many snaps Robert Tonyan's played. Okay, listen, keep in mind, they're low on the depth chart for a reason, and I know they stood out in the preseason and whatnot, but you got to remember that's the preseason. Not everybody's preseason, especially if it happens against other second, third stringers. Not everyone's preseason carries over to the regular season. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even think Jared Wiley's been active for a game this year because I'm looking at Pro Football Reference. Does not show anything that he's done in 2025. Oh, he threw a pick. He threw a pick on the first play of the drive. Listen, I never met Carson Wentz, but I've heard good things about him from people on the team. Oh, I think they're reviewing it because he's still on the field. He's a journeyman for a reason, though. Okay, let's see. Was his feet in bounds? Yeah, oh yeah, he's clearly in bounds, unless he does not have control, which you can't tell from that first angle they showed. But yeah, listen, he got off to a great start in his career, and now he's journeyman. And by the way, how pathetic is it to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan? Like you're watching this game right now, and you're like, really? We gave up 40 some odd points against this team? What's up, cool dad? Appreciate you. My concern with Jones is mentally, he probably won't be all there if he plays. I really hope he doesn't get injured due to those distractions. I don't think he'll get injured. Listen, I think, these guys want to be on the field. Being on the field is a distraction from real life. It's no different than, if you're having a bad day at home, which happens to all of us, you go to work the next day and you kind of get away from whatever you're dealing with. Let's keep in mind, back in 2012, when the Javon Belcher incident occurred, the Chiefs did play a game the next day. And that was, those 3 hours, that was their escape from what had happened 24 hours prior. So, listen, I think he'll be fine. If he was in it, like I remember L'Jarius Sneed lost a family member a few years ago, and he took some time away from the team. So, if people need to take some time away, they'll do it. Whoa, what happened? That's incomplete. That is incomplete. Okay, Carson Wentz has he almost threw another interception. What is he doing? Carson Wentz, come on, bro. I'll stay with you guys until this game's over. I want to see how this ends. Please do not go to overtime. That's going to carry over to all the noon kickoff games here. There's a holding call. Excuse me. I appreciate it, Paul. Thank you. And by the way, from anyone who came up to me yesterday, said hello at the Duran Cherry tailgate, yeah, huge shout out to you guys. Thank you guys. I can't thank you guys enough. Yeah, so they're saying it was bobbled. Yeah, that receiver was right there trying to fight it out of his hands. Now, again, I'm focused on talking to you guys, so I wasn't paying too close attention, but man, Carson Wentz has got another chance. What's he gonna do? Not the 25. That dude jumped. He's still on his feet. What's he gonna do? Okay, he got pummeled at the line of scrimmage, basically. Yeah, they're calling offsides. I love when a flag is thrown and the team that's guilty of the penalty, they're pointing the other direction. You see that a lot. What are my expectations from Jalen Royals? Do I think he gets utilized quite a bit today? Don't expect a lot of Jalen Royals. Let's see with Xavier Worthy. My guess is Worthy's going to be on a limited snap count. So I would have to assume Royals gets into the action at some point. If you're expecting him to be targeted 5 times, I think you're maybe expecting too much. I would say maybe a target or two. Keep in mind, this guy's a 4th-round draft pick, so he's got to get his feet wet a little more. And look, I'll say this. The Chiefs loved what they saw from him in training camp. Jalen Royals was the biggest surprise to me in training camp. I was there for the second day of camp. Dude, Royals got involved a lot. And from that point on, they were getting Royals involved quite a bit with the offense. How do you carry that over to a real game? And that's what we're going to see soon, hopefully. Because I think what the excitement is with this offense is when Rashee Rice comes back, and if everyone can please stay healthy, you'll have Rice, you'll have Worthy, you'll have Hollywood, and part of your depth, you'll have Royals, you'll have Juju, you'll have Thornton, who has really been, what the hell is he doing? That the referee thought about throwing a flag there. He had his hands on his hip trying to get that flag, but you see that sometimes from refs. I think they're talking about it. That wide receiver room is gonna look pretty damn good when Rice comes back. The reality is not everyone can, and again, Nico Remigio is going to be part of that depth chart too. Not every receiver can get 5 catches for 25 yards. That'd be a hell of a performance by any quarterback. But listen, one game Rice is going to go off and have a great game. The next game he's going to be quiet, and Worthy's going to have a great game. And then the next game Worthy's going to be quiet. Maybe Hollywood has a standout game. And then after that, maybe it's going to be Tyquan Thornton who has a big game. I don't know. Like, it's not going to be the same every single time. Might be Jalen Royals the next game. Kind of like 2022. Like, seriously, in 2022, can you name a wide receiver that just stood out more than anyone else? No. They had Juju Smith-Schuster. They had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney. And this was before the drops became an issue. Even Sky Moore kind of helped move the ball a little bit that year, too, when he was a rookie. So, that was a Chiefs offense that in which Mahomes was able to utilize all the wide receivers. And on top of that, he loves to get the running backs involved, both tight ends, Kelsey and Gray. And don't forget about what the Chiefs did back in 2018. That was Mahomes' first year as a starter. 2018 and 2019. I know a lot of people love to say, oh, well, Mahomes had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce to start off his career. He did. But he also got a lot of other guys involved. He got Sammy Watkins involved. He got McCole Hardman involved. Kareem Hunt was involved a lot in the passing game as well. It wasn't just Kelce, Tyreek. It wasn't just that. If you just look at the stat sheet and don't watch games, yeah, sure. That's probably going to be your initial thought and reaction. But this Chiefs team to be proved to be more than just having Mahomes throw the ball to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And I think that once Rice comes back, and maybe we'll see it today with Worthy, depending if he can be a player that goes to full speed, maybe we'll see that offense where kind of similar to 2022, where Mahomes gets a lot of different guys involved. I get all these questions. Who should I start in fantasy football? I'm a terrible guy to ask for fantasy football advice, but I think it's going to be similar to 2022, where no one's going to be a standout wide receiver. A lot of different guys are going to get involved each game. When should we start worrying that the Chargers will win the AFC West? I think that concern should already be there. Through the first 3 weeks, the Chargers are 3-0, and they're not just 3-0. 4th down. And there it is. The game's over. It's not just 4th down. Or I'm sorry. Not just 3 games. All 3 of their wins have been against AFC West opponents. I mean, that is massive for tiebreaker implications. And you don't often get a schedule where your first three games are all against division rivals. The Chiefs played a division rival in week one, and since then, the other two games they had were against non-conference teams. So that's the type of start it's been for Kansas City. So is there time to make up ground? Yes. Is it an uphill battle? That's also true. Yeah. So I'm not writing the Chiefs off, but if I had to bet today who wins the AFC West, I would lean towards Kansas City. I would lean towards the Chargers, but I think Kansas City is going to get pretty close. I think they'll get close. Matthew says we still have a brutal schedule to come. Once Rice returns, the schedule does kind of get easier, in my opinion. Now I know no team should ever be taken lightly in the NFL, but I truly do believe that the schedule does kind of favor Kansas City once Rice comes back. I think that's the good news when you look at this Chiefs schedule. The NFL Today crew on CBS, they are at Arrowhead Stadium. I'm glad they're doing this. I just turned it on my YouTube TV here. I'm glad they're doing this. I know they did this last year in Buffalo. Fox was in Kansas City, not at Arrowhead. They were at Power and Light, which I thought was a better option. It's kind of like College Game Day. The atmosphere for College Game Day is really something else. And I think the NFL is trying to create that for their league, where they have CBS and Fox, maybe not every single week, but for some of these marquee matchups, they send out their pregame crew to do a live postgame there or a live pregame there. I like that a lot. I think that's a really smart idea. Now, when you're at like Matt Ryan and Bill Cowher, when they do these game day updates, how easy is it to do that when you're at a remote location? I don't know. Because when you're in studio, you're kind of in a comfortable setting. You have all the monitors and screens to look at. So I've always been curious how that works when they're on the road for a pregame show. All right, I'll take a couple more comments, questions before we sign off for the morning before the noon kickoff games. Did they not know about Royals' knee? Because why would they spend all that money to get him? I mean, he's not costing that much, Antonio. He's a fourth round draft pick. His knee issue came up during I think it was during training camp or during preseason. I can't remember which one. Do you think our defensive line can get sacks on this Herald? Yes, I do. This is an opportunity not only for the Chiefs offense to kind of start going and maybe even light up the scoreboard a bit. That's how confident I am in the Chiefs offense. I got a lot of responses from you guys saying otherwise. But the defensive line, yeah. I think this defensive line needs to start doing its thing. You got two guys on veteran deals, big veteran deals. You got two rookies who were drafted in day two. I think it's time for those guys to stand up and start making some noise here. Do I want Chris Jones' tail number? No, I'm good. Thank you, though. I'll trust your reporting there, Brad. I think at the end of the day, you kind of have to know who your defensive line is if you're Kansas City. As much as I like Charles Omenihu, and I was excited that he was going to get a full season with the Chiefs, he's gotten off to a really bad start. Mike Dana, he's been very quiet to start the season. Derek Nottie, I have no idea why they chose him over Mike Pennell, but they did, and that's not a good move. I'm a big fan of Veach, and I'll stand by this, and I've said it many times. I think Veach is the best general manager in the NFL today, but that was not a wise decision there. But I think your main four defensive linemen for defensive ends, Karlaftis and Gelati, and inside Jones and Omar Norman Lott. Now, obviously, you got to rotate those guys. I get it. But I think those four can have a really good game today against Lamar Jackson. I'm excited to see what this defensive line does in this game today. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for your questions, your comments. Appreciate you guys joining me this morning for this episode of the Pregame Live Chat. I am Farzin Vasu again. Come back at halftime. We will do a 10-minute halftime live stream recapping the first half and also previewing the second half. And then after the game, we will be doing the Chiefs Zone podcast. We will break down the game, hopefully recapping a win. And I'll also have the link for you guys to call in. All you got to do is click on that link, turn on your audio, your video, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, your computer camera, whatever it is you use, just turn on the audio and the video, and we will talk after the game and recap tonight's game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Once again, I'm Farzy Vasugan. Appreciate you guys joining me for this episode of the Pregame Live Chat. I will talk to you all at halftime. Peace out.